Germany has documented more than 1,500 distinct sausage recipes, split into three legal categories that dictate how each one can be made, smoked, or boiled. From a medieval butcher's scrap use invention to a dish with its own official Volkswagen parts number, here's every German sausage explained in 8 minutes. Bratwurst. The name comes from Old High German, Brat, finely chopped meat, and Wurst, sausage, and the earliest written recipe survives from 1313 in Nuremberg. Medieval butchers found that finely chopping meat and packing it into natural casings solved preservation and flavor at once. More than 40 regional variants exist today, some seasoned with marjoram, others caraway or nutmeg, with northern versions leaning heavier on pork and southern ones blending in veal. Several regional styles now carry protected EU status. By the 19th century, it had become street food, grilled over open flames at markets and Christmas fairs across the country. Nürnberger Rostbratwurst. Nuremberg's miniature sausages share that same 1313 written record, making them contemporaries of the earliest bratwurst. Popular legend claims their small size let them be smuggled through keyholes after the city gates closed. Historians consider that unlikely. The real explanation is blunter. Smaller sausages used less meat during lean years and cooked faster for travelers. Grilled exclusively over beechwood and served in bundles of 6, 8, 10, or 12, they may legally only be produced within Nuremberg's city limits. Nuremberg kept its sausage small and portable enough to eat one-handed. 100 kilometers east, Thuringia did the opposite. Bigger, herbier, confident enough to name itself directly after the grill it's cooked on. Thüringer Rostbratwurst. A municipal record from 1404 documents the sausage in Thuringia, though it likely predates that account by generations. The name's Rost refers to the grill grate it's cooked over, charcoal or wood, letting smoke carry through the meat. Marjoram is the defining spice, backed by garlic and caraway, and the region's abundant pig farming made pork the obvious base. It now holds EU-protected geographical status, locking in methods that were already 6 centuries old by the time protection was granted. Weisswurst. Munich's white sausage is never smoked, just veal, pork back fat, parsley, lemon, and onion, gently simmered rather than fried. Bavarian legend credits innkeeper Sepp Moser with inventing it by accident on February 22, 1857, after running out of sheep casings and substituting larger pork ones, fearing they'd burst on the grill. Because it spoiled fast before refrigeration, tradition demanded it be eaten before the church bells rang at noon. Locals still eat it by a technique called zuzeln, sucking the meat straight out of the casing rather than cutting it, paired with sweet mustard, a pretzel, and wheat beer. Frankfurter. Butchers in Frankfurt am Main were producing slender, smoked pork sausages as early as the 13th century, with production locked down by powerful medieval guilds that certified who could make it. German immigrants carried the style to the United States in the 1800s, where it evolved into what Americans now call the hot dog, though its exact American origin is still disputed among food historians. The original stayed legally protected at home. Some culinary historians note a German court ruling limited the name Frankfurter Würstchen to sausages made within city limits. Frankfurt built a legal fortress to protect one sausage's name. Berlin, centuries later, didn't even bother inventing a name for the next one. It just borrowed one from beer, Bockwurst. The name literally translates as goat sausage. It essentially never contains goat, either its most honest sausage or its least, depending how strictly you read a menu. Restaurant owner Robert Schultz and butcher Benjamin Lowenthal are credited with popularizing this mild veal and pork blend in Berlin around 1889, but the word appears in a Bavarian dictionary as early as 1827, over 60 years earlier. Lowenthal made his version with veal instead of pork to keep it kosher, giving one of Germany's most casual sausages a documented kosher origin. It's named after Bock beer, the strong beer brewed each spring, itself named after the town of Einbeck. Because beer halls served the two together so often, the sausage inherited the beer's name. Not a bad trade. Unlike grilled bratwurst, it's poached in hot water for a soft, delicate bite that made it a beer garden staple. Knackwurst. The name comes straight from the sound it makes. Knack. The sharp snap of the casing when bitten. It likely developed in northern Germany during the 16th century, garlic forward and aged for 2 to 5 days before being smoked over oak at around 60 degrees Celsius, giving it its reddish-orange color. The snap is taken seriously enough that cooking guides warn against boiling it outright, since high heat splits the casing and kills the exact texture it's named for. Somewhere in Germany, an impatient cook with a pot of boiling water can ruin it entirely. German immigrants brought it to North America, where the spelling drifted drifted into Knockwurst. Every sausage so far needs cooking or refrigeration. Fine, if you're never far from a kitchen. The next one was engineered for people who are. Landjäger. The name loosely translates to country hunter, and the sausage lives up to it. A beef and pork mix fermented to a pH near 5.2, then cold smoked over beechwood until it's shelf stable for up to 2 weeks unsealed, or a year vacuum packed. It's pressed flat into a rectangular shape so it won't roll out of a pocket, and German soldiers carried it as field rations in both world wars. It's still sold twisted together in joined pairs, just as it was over a century ago. Teewurst. Invented in Pomerania in the mid-1800s, this soft, spreadable smoked sausage takes its name, tea sausage, from its role at German afternoon tea, despite containing no tea whatsoever. Made from raw, finely smoked pork and bacon, its high fat content gives it a texture closer to pâté than to sliced meat, meant to be spread on bread rather than cooked or cut. Teewurst exists because nothing in German butchery goes to waste. The next sausage takes that philosophy to its logical extreme, built around the one part of the animal that spoils before you've even finished the slaughter. Blutwurst. Blood sausage exists in nearly every culture that raises animals for meat, but Germany's version is tied specifically to the Schlachtfest, the annual pig slaughter. Because fresh blood spoils almost immediately, it had to become sausage the same day the animal was killed. Recipes shift by region. Some use barley, others oats, breadcrumbs, or potatoes as the filler. Leberwurst. Liver spoils faster than almost any other cut, which is exactly why it ended up preserved in sausage form, mixed with pork fat, herbs, and spices, then packed into casing rather than eaten fresh. The tradition likely traces back to ancient Rome, refined over centuries into regional German recipes. Unlike grilled sausages, it's meant to be spread on bread rather than cooked, and it remains a standard German breakfast item. Every sausage covered so far has been cooked, smoked, cured, or fermented. Germany clearly knows how to treat meat, which makes it a little strange that one traditional German sausage skips all of that and gets eaten stone raw. Zwiebelmettwurst. Met is raw minced pork, seasoned and mixed with raw onion, spread directly onto bread with no cooking step at all. Germany's food safety rules allow this because fresh ground pork intended for met must be ground and sold the same day, under strict temperature control throughout. It even has its own party centerpiece, the Met Eagle, a mound of raw, seasoned pork shaped into a hedgehog studded with onion quills, served as casually as a cheese platter. Germany's answer to a charcuterie board if the charcuterie board had never been cooked. That's about as old school and unglamorous as German sausage gets. The last one on this list is the opposite, invented within living memory and now big enough to have its own dedicated production line inside a car factory. Currywurst. In 1949, Berlin food stand owner Herta Heuver reportedly got curry powder and ketchup from British soldiers in occupied Berlin, mixed them into a sauce, and poured it over sliced grilled pork sausage. She patented the sauce as Chillup in 1951, and at its peak, her stand sold 10,000 servings a week. Germans now eat an estimated 800 million currywursts a year, 70 million of those in Berlin alone, and Volkswagen's Wolfsburg factory makes its own currywurst under an official VW parts number, some years selling more currywursts than actual cars.